Welcome to the Top 10 Gardener with Master Gardener Ken Lain. Gardening can be challenging, but with Ken's tips, tricks, and top 10 advice, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, welcome your garden host, Ken Lain.
And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lain, here every week talking about the landscapes of northern Arizona. And we are finally, there's basically six different seasons you'll find here in the mountains of Arizona. We just break those down for you. And we are into definitely the early spring season. It's early this year. So usually it starts the first week in March or so. Now it's the last week in February. It's at least 2-3 weeks. And I'll share why that is or how to tell. But really you've got down right now, we came from winter. Winter is December, January, February. It's when all the winter evergreens, they really shine. They outshine all the others, and they've been looking fantastic. We just shifted over to early spring. So I know spring is still 3 weeks off, but early spring is definitely, you're seeing the winter blooming plants going. So you're seeing the daffodils are coming out of the ground. Daffodils, the peonies are right behind them, right, just elongating tremendously right now. My winter blooming jasmines, the camellias, all these early spring seasons, they're growing or blooming. I noticed that my akebia, 5-leaf akebia, it's an evergreen vine. It's a strong, fast growing vine. It's put on already in the last week at least a foot and a half of growth. That's early spring. Early spring is defined by bright days, but chilly nights. It can still be frosty. You can even see a snow every once in a while, but plants are growing. Those early spring plants, they love that. So pansies, they look fantastic right now, and they're actively growing no matter how cold it is at night, or now no matter how much kind of weather event we get. They're going to bloom no matter what. That's early spring. That goes through towards the end of April. Then we go to actual spring season. May and June is actually spring. And so you're seeing everything go in the ground then. So your tomatoes go in, we're past the risk of frost. And now we're seeing everything can be planted. So all your zinnias, the blooming things in your containers, all of the spring blooming, I mean, red buds and crab apples, everything will be blooming and growing and actively putting on new foliage. It's obviously spring, and we all want to be outdoors, including your plants. They want to grow. Then you shift over to, I defined June as its own planting season. It's perennial month. So June is, I have perennials right now, and they look pretty good. The peonies, they're here. This is the time to plant them. This is the time to buy them. But they're here, but they aren't in bloom yet. They're just actively growing. So they're fully rooted. They're robust. They're growing like crazy, but they're not in bloom. In June, all the perennials are in bloom. You don't have to read the tag going, oh yeah, it grows this big. I can almost smell the color by looking at the tag. No. In June, everything is blooming, and you can touch and taste and smell, and you can just see what perennials are those things that come back year after year. So plant it once and you're done. So annuals are those things that look good for the annual for the year, and then they die in the winter basically. So that's the difference. Then you've got summer. Summer is June through really sometime in September is summer. So summer plants are crepe myrtles and the yuccas and agaves. They're growing like crazy. All that heat loving. Oh my gosh, make it hotter, please. I want to grow now. That's roses put on a whole nother set of flowers. Your smoke bush. There's a whole series of summer blooming plants that are fabulous, brightest colors of the year right then. Then you go into fall season. That's when your aspens and maples and all your service berries are all looking fall color. Even your shrubs that were blooming back in the summer and in the spring, they've got fabulous color. So your lilacs, they're starting to heavily bud up right now. They'll be in bloom in a few days, but then they go into a nice green shrub, and then they have this great fall color, this aspen gold fall color. So that's fall season. Then you're back into winter again, winter evergreen. So it was early spring, which is now, You've got spring, the traditional planting. That's when everyone puts everything in. Then you've got perennial month, June. Then you've got summer blooming things, fall color, and then winter evergreens. That's 6 seasons. So, and it's because of the altitude, the brightness, and the dryness. We just have, I don't know. That's why we live here. It's just so beautiful every month of the year. It's glorious. We don't get hot like Phoenix. We don't get bitter cold like Wyoming. Oh my gosh. Actually, a lot of Wyomans, they actually winter here in the Prescott, the northern, Arizona area. And so it's kind of a beautiful place to be. Now, I mentioned, how do you know? Ken, come on. It's going to be cold. There's got to be one more storm, one more system coming. Yeah, well, March is typically one of our wettest months of the entire year. So yeah, we will see another storm. We need to see another storm. We need more moisture. So bring it. I'll take it. The snows of March are very heavy and they don't last on the ground very long. They snow and then they melt and go away. And so it's a really good, healthy type of moisture that your landscapes, especially your trees, your evergreens, really need. And so they're counting on that. We need it. But some things are blooming and they're all actively growing. The ground is thawed and it's not going to freeze again. So the plants, they know this. They're going to, you know what? I'm going to start growing because I think it's going to be spring pretty quick. The bees, you'll notice the honeybees, they're out foraging. They're really hungry right now. So anything that's in bloom, even a remote bit of bloom, they're going to go after. We just had flowering heath. You only find this particular alpine perennial. It's like an evergreen shrub. That's a perennial. It's an evergreen thing that stays up about knee high and gets kind of 3 by 3 by 3 or 2 foot high by 3 foot wide. Beautiful alpine plant, gorgeous. You only see it this time of the year. Right now, if you're to wait until the traditional spring season, May, I won't have any of those. But if you want to encourage or help your pollinators out there first of spring, put a heath in. They're in full bloom right now, and the bee literally will bring them off the truck. The bees will follow us through the nursery, chasing this beautiful little plant. It's got bell-shaped flowers, just like manzanita does. It looks the same. And then when it's done blooming, usually the end of May or so, it has this beautiful fern looking foliage to it. It's just a really handsome, pretty plant. Comes in pink and white, basically. It's a great little plant. You know it's spring when the heath starts to bloom. You know it's spring when the peonies start to elongate from their containers or from the ground. So they're active. They're not blooming yet, but you can see them actively growing. They'll literally grow. I mean, my Ito peonies, they'll grow 5 feet. I mean, not 5 feet, maybe 4 feet. They get massive with these great big flowers that are as big as your hand. Then your traditional English peonies are the same. They're just cuter. They're shorter. They're less than knee high. And so they have more flowers, but they aren't nearly as large as an Ito peony. So there's different types, but it's spring when they start to grow. And so when your rosemary starts to bloom, it's one of the first things to bloom. That'll be within days. It'll be in bloom with that beautiful kind of lavendery, violet kind of blue color to it, and the bees will be all over it, going, "Oh, finally something to eat. I've been hungry. I'm going to take this back to the hive and feed the queen. So we'll make honey together." So it's that kind of unfortunately, another indication is when bugs come out or when gophers are out. So I'm getting quite a few customers coming in with, "Oh my gosh, I don't know where all these pocket gophers came from." I can tell you, it's early spring. They've been hibernating real deep underground, and now all of a sudden they're right up, hungry because they've been hibernating and eating the roots off of your trees and shrubs. And so that's nothing to don't ignore those, because they can kill plants if left unchecked. But they're very actively growing, and mama has had babies. And they're all now, you went from 1 or 2 in the ground. Now they came out with a whole family in spring. And now there's just all this activity. You need to deal with those. If you need help with that, come see us. We're here at the Garden Center for you. We'll help you thin the numbers.
Let's talk poop. Hey, I'm Tommy at Waters Garden Center. Ken and Lisa are out right now, so I snuck in to remind you that it's time to add some manure to your garden. It's been a wet winter, and your soil is, well, pooped. Waters Barnyard Manure adds nutrients to get your garden growing. It's organic and odorless, so we really can say our poop don't stink. Buy 6 bags or more. Now that's a load of crap.
Tommy, what's going on?
Oh, poop, gotta go. Natural, safe, odorless, and organic at Waters Garden Center.
You're listening to Garden Master Ken Lain, owner of Waters Garden Center in Prescott. Join his daily podcast for timely garden advice seasonally right for the gardens. Ken can be found throughout the week at Waters Garden Center in Prescott or through his website at top10gardener.com.